A stranger in the rain. It was a cold, rainy evening. The streets were empty. Water ran down the sides of the road like little rivers. Most people were home, warm and dry. But one man was still working. John was closing his small repair shop. He fixed machines, radios, and old tech. He lived a quiet life in a quiet town. Every day was the same. Until tonight. As he locked the door and pulled up his jacket, he heard a strange sound. It was soft, like a whisper mixed with a spark. He turned his head. Something moved in the dark alley next to his shop. He took a step closer. There, in the shadows, was a girl. She was sitting on the ground, soaking wet. Her clothes were thin and dirty. She looked up at him slowly. Her eyes, they were not normal. They had a soft glow, like silver light. John stopped. For a second, he thought maybe she was hurt or sick. He didn't move. He just stared. Then she spoke. "Help me. Please," she whispered. Her voice was weak, almost broken. John looked around. No one else was there. Just rain and her. He didn't know why, but he stepped forward. Maybe it was her eyes. Maybe it was the way she sounded, lost, scared, and tired. "Are you okay?" he asked. She didn't answer. She looked down, shivering. "Come with me. I have food." "And heat," John said. The girl looked at him again. Then slowly she stood up. Her steps were shaky, like she hadn't eaten in days. He brought her inside the shop. It was small, but warm. He gave her a towel, some water, and a blanket. She sat near the small heater and closed her eyes. John watched her carefully. Her skin looked too smooth. Her hands had small cuts, but they were healing fast. Too fast. "What's your name?" he asked. She didn't answer. "Where are you from?" Silence again. He didn't push. She looked like she had been through something bad. Maybe she was running from someone. He brought her a bowl of soup. She ate like she hadn't eaten in days. Fast, but quiet. Almost like she was afraid the food would disappear. After some time, she spoke again, very softly. "Thank you." John gave a small smile. "You're welcome." Later, he made her a bed in the back room. She looked at it, confused, like she didn't know what a bed was. But she lay down anyway. That night, John couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about her strange eyes, her fast healing, the way she touched his broken radio. And it started working again. Yes, that happened. She had touched it for just a second. And the radio, dead for weeks, turned on. Music played, then stopped. Like nothing happened. John checked the wires. Everything was the same. No changes. Still broken. It made no sense. He walked to the back room and looked at her. She was asleep, but not peaceful. She was shaking, whispering something in her sleep. He stepped closer. Her skin, it was glowing again. Faint, but real. A soft blue light, like moonlight underwater. Then she said something. Just one word. "They're coming." John froze. He didn't understand. Who was coming? Was she in danger? Was he in danger? He stepped back, heart beating fast. Who was this girl? And why did it feel like his life was about to change forever? The morning came too fast. John hadn't slept. His eyes were heavy, but his mind was racing. She was still there, lying on the makeshift bed, wrapped in the old gray blanket. The rain had stopped, but the questions hadn't. He stood near the doorway, watching her. Her breathing was slow, calm, but the glow, it was back. A soft shimmer ran along her arms, barely visible in the daylight, but real. Not a trick of the eyes. Then suddenly, she opened her eyes. John stepped back. She didn't move. "I didn't run," she said, like answering a question he didn't ask. "I know," John replied carefully. "You could have left, but you stayed." They stared at each other in silence. Do you remember your name? He asked. No, she said after a pause. But I remember colors, places. Stars? Stars? She looked away. Too many. John sat down across from her. He didn't know if she was joking or serious. But something told him she wasn't lying. What are you running from? She touched her shoulder. There were faint scars, round, precise, like something sharp had entered and healed quickly. I don't know the name. I don't think they have names, she said. They hunt. Anything different. John's mouth went dry. Was she talking about people, animals, or something else? She suddenly stood up, slowly walking toward the window. She placed her hand on the glass, but something strange happened. A fine crack appeared in the window, like ice spreading from her fingers. John jumped up. Stop, he said, moving toward her. She turned quickly, fear in her eyes. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It just happens when I'm scared. What are you? He whispered. She didn't answer, but she didn't have to. That night, John checked his old laptop. No news of missing people. No alerts. But on a dark corner of the web, buried deep under strange forums and conspiracy threads, one post caught his eye. Blue light girl seen near Old Highway 9, not human. Be careful. It was posted last night. An hour before she appeared. John's heart raced. He looked toward the back room. She had come from that direction. Later, he returned to check on her again. She was drawing on a piece of paper now, circles, stars, odd symbols. He watched her hands move, fast, almost like she wasn't thinking, just remembering. What is that? She looked up. Home, she said. John sat beside her. Where is it? Far. Too far, she whispered. Then she added, they left me here. They think I'm dead. John looked at her. She wasn't shaking anymore. Her voice was stronger, but her eyes still filled with fear. Why did they leave you? He asked. I broke a rule, she said. I helped a human. John stared. Me? She shook her head. Someone else, long ago. She stood, walked over to the dead light bulb hanging from the ceiling, and touched it. It lit up instantly, even though it was disconnected. John just stared. You're not from this planet, he said quietly. She turned to him. No smile. No lie. No. John woke to a sound, soft but strange, like wind. Moving inside the room, he opened his eyes slowly. She was standing in the dark, not near the bed, not near the window. She was floating, just 2 inches off the ground, eyes closed. Arms slightly raised. The light above her flickered. His tools were shaking on the table. Then it stopped. She fell gently to the floor, like a leaf. John got up fast. What was that? She didn't answer. She looked tired, sad. I tried to send a signal, she whispered. But the sky is too noisy. John was confused. What signal? To who? She turned toward him. To my kind, to tell them I'm alive. John froze. Part of him still hoped this was a game. A lie. A weird dream. But not anymore. What are you really? He asked quietly. She looked down. Do you want the truth? Yes. She walked over to the table, picked up a small wrench, and bent it with her fingers like it was paper. Then, slowly, she reached for the small mirror near the sink, her face. Changed. Not fully. Not all at once. But just enough. Her skin turned slightly silver. Her eyes became wide and deep. No whites, no pupils, only soft light. John backed up, breath caught in his throat. Don't be afraid, she said. This is what I am. He didn't speak. Just stared. She returned to her human form in seconds, the glow fading, the face reshaping like melting glass. I was sent here. Long ago, she said, sitting down, not to harm. Just to watch. Study your kind, your planet, your ways. Like a spy? No, she shook her head, like a student. John sat down across from her, still unsure if he should run or listen. We came in peace. We always do, she said. But rules are strict. No contact, no interference. Then why did you help a human? He asked. She looked away. Because he was dying, alone, like I am now. Her voice cracked for the first time. I healed him. Just a little. Enough to keep him alive. But they saw me, my kind. My ship, my team. They reported me. John listened closely. Every word sounded unreal. But her pain? That felt real. They punished you? They left me behind. Erased my ID from our system. To them, I'm already dead. A long silence filled the room. John finally said, You saved someone. Once. Let me return the favor. She looked up. You believe me? John smiled a little. Let's just say, I've never seen a floating mechanic before. For the first time, she smiled too. But it didn't last. Because outside, in the distance, a black van drove slowly past the shop. Windows tinted. No sound. No logo. And inside it, a screen flickered with strange data, coordinates, a pulse map. A voice said, Energy spike detected. 200 meters. Moving quietly. It started with the sound of a dog barking, then silence. Complete unnatural silence. John stood at the window of his shop, staring into the early morning fog. Something felt wrong. The girl, Luma, as she now called herself, stood behind him, still wearing the blanket over her shoulders like a coat. They're close, she whispered. John turned. How do you know? She didn't answer. She just pointed to the small metal lamp in the corner of the room. It was shaking, just slightly. John frowned. It's not even plugged in. I can feel their frequency, she said. It's not human. He stepped back. Wait, not human? You mean? No, she interrupted. Not like me. Worse. Then, 3 slow knocks at the front door. Not a knock for welcome, but one that said, We know you're in there. John froze. He walked to the front and looked through the peephole. A man in a black coat stood still on the porch. He wasn't looking at the door. He was looking up, scanning the roof. Then another knock. Luma's hand went to her neck. The skin there shimmered for a second, like a shield flickering. We have to leave, she said firmly. John whispered back, Out the back? She shook her head. Too late. They'll surround us. He looked around. I have a car. No car, she said. They'll track engines. We go underground. Underground? John repeated. She moved fast, pulling a wrench from the buffet table and pointing to the old storage hatch in the floor, a space John hadn't used in years. They can't scan through metal this thick. It's our only chance. Another knock, harder now. Then the sound of boots walking around the sides of the shop. John grabbed a flashlight, opened the hatch, and helped her down. As he closed it behind them, he heard the front door handle rattle. We're coming in. In the crawl space below, Luma's skin glowed faintly in the darkness. Her breathing was steady, focused. John, on the other hand, was sweating. From above, they heard footsteps, calm, heavy. Then something worse, a buzzing sound, like a swarm of wasps. Mechanical ones. What is that? John whispered. Luma closed her eyes. Drones, not machines, living metal. They smell. Thought. John swallowed hard. I hate this planet already. Luma smiled for a brief second. The steps moved again, this time right above the hatch. The floor creaked. John held his breath. The hatch handle moved slightly, but then silence. A voice above said, Cold and robotic. Negative. The signal moved. She jumped. Search perimeter. 1 mile. The door slammed. Luma exhaled slowly. They didn't find U.S. John looked at her. How long until they come back? She answered without looking at him. They never stop. The door didn't belong in a small town. Thick, steel, no handle. Hidden behind a pile of fake crates behind an old gas station. It hummed softly, like it was breathing. John stood in front of it, sweating through his jacket. In one hand, he held a stolen keycard. In the other, a simple flashlight, useless against what was inside. Behind him, Luma waited in the car, weak, her glow dimming. She was dying. Earth's atmosphere was hurting her, slowly, cell by cell. She needed something not found in hospitals. She needed them, her people's tech. And that tech was locked inside this underground government facility. John wasn't a spy. He was just a mechanic. But tonight, he would break into the most secure place in the state, for her. He swiped the card. The door clicked open. No alarms. No lights, just silence and cold air. He stepped inside. Meanwhile, in the car, Luma stared at the sky. Her skin was changing again, silver lines across her arms, like circuits waking up. Her breathing slowed. She placed her hand on the car dashboard. The metal warmed under her touch. "Come back, John," she whispered. "Please, come back." Inside the facility, John moved through the hallway like a shadow. The place was more than military. It was alien. Literally. Strange symbols on the walls. Lights that didn't cast shadows. And sound soft, echoing, mechanical heartbeats. He turned a corner and froze, a pod, floating in a chamber filled with blue light. Inside, a being, like Luma, but not cold, silent. Watched by machines. Then he saw it, a table nearby, holding a glowing crystal inside a metal cage. Luma had called it core light. Her people used it to power everything, even heal. He moved toward it, slowly, reaching for it with shaky hands. Then, a voice behind him. "You shouldn't be here, John." He spun around. It was Agent Keller. The same agent who'd come to town 2 days ago, but now his eyes glowed faint red, and his voice echoed strangely. John stepped back. "You're one of them," Keller smiled. "Not quite, but I serve them." John grabbed the core light and ran. Alarms screamed. Lights flashed red. Keller didn't chase with his feet. He vanished, turned to smoke, and reappeared ahead. John ducked, rolled, and threw the flashlight, smashing a control panel. Sparks flew. He jumped through a closing door, barely making it out. Behind him, Keller screamed in a voice not made for Earth. "You protect a mistake. She was meant to die." But John didn't stop. He had the crystal, and one mission now. Save her. Back at the car, Luma's glow was fading. Her heartbeat slowed. Then, the door flew open. John rushed in, breathing hard, holding the core light. "Luma, I got it. Stay with me." He placed it in her hand. Nothing happened. Then, her body lit up, not bright, but steady. Her eyes opened. "You came back," she whispered. John smiled, exhausted. "I always will." But behind them, in the trees, red eyes blinked. They weren't safe. Not yet. The cabin was silent, hidden deep in the woods. No phones, no signal. No roads. The kind of place where people disappear, and no one asks why. Inside, John sat by the fire, staring at the strange blue glow moving across Luma's skin. She was finally healing. The core light crystal sat on the table, like a tiny sun, quiet, alive. She lay wrapped in blankets on the floor, breathing evenly now, not like before, when every breath sounded like goodbye. John didn't speak. He just watched. Finally, she opened her eyes. "How long was I gone?" she asked. "Almost a day," he replied softly. "You stayed?" "I stole alien tech, ran from government shadows, and almost got vaporized by a guy who can teleport through walls. John said with a tired smile. Of course I stayed. Luma blinked, a gesture she still hadn't mastered. You're strange for a human. You're strange for anything, John replied. She smiled. Then silence. The fire crackled between them. Why do you keep helping me? She asked. John looked at her, more serious now. Because you didn't ask to be hunted. You didn't ask to be left behind. You saved a life, and they punished you for it. But now you're in danger too. I was already in danger. I just didn't know it until you showed up. Luma sat up slowly. Her hands glowed faintly as she reached toward the fire. The flames bent toward her like greeting an old friend. I've never stayed this long, she said. On any planet. With any person. John didn't answer. He just watched her, how she moved, how she thought before every word. She looked at him again. Your people have a word. One I've heard in your mind when you think of me. John's eyes narrowed slightly. You can hear my thoughts? Not all, she replied. Just the loud ones. And what word? She hesitated. Wife. John's breath caught. I don't know what it fully means in your world, she continued, but in mine, there's something close. A chosen bond, not by blood. Not by rule, by will. He stayed silent. Then finally said, it means you stay. You protect each other. You belong to no one except each other. She nodded slowly. Then yes, that word fits. John looked at her, really looked. Not as a refugee or an alien or a mystery, but as someone who now meant something more. I don't care what planet you came from, he said. I just care that you're still here, and outside, deep in the woods. Something listened. Something that didn't understand. Words like wife or bond. Only targets and orders. The red-eyed hunter crouched low, scanning for a signal. And finally, it found one. The stars were falling, not meteors, ships. Silent, black, shaped, like knives cutting through the night sky. Luma watched from the tree line, her silver eyes reflecting the descent. Her skin was glowing bright now, not from health, but from warning. They found me, she said. And they didn't come to talk. John stood beside her, a heavy bag slung over his shoulder, tools, food, the last piece of corelite. I thought your people didn't kill their own, he said. They don't, she answered. But they don't consider me one of them. Anymore. The sky shimmered as a portal opened in the clouds. A wide circular tier that buzzed with blue light. Through it came a ship, larger than the others, humming like a god made of steel. John whispered, so this is what extinction looks like. Luma turned to him. No, this is what choice looks like. He looked confused. I can send a signal through the core light, she explained. A call for pickup. Another ship will come. It can take me off this planet. Before they reach us. John's mouth opened slightly. You can leave, yes. But not with me. She didn't reply, because they both knew the answer. Her people would never take a human. Never forgive what she had done. Never accept who she had bonded with. And staying here meant death. For both of them, she held out the crystal. I just have to activate it. John stared at it, then at her. Then why haven't you? Luma looked at the sky. And then at him. I'm not sure which world I belong to anymore, she said. But I know which one has you. They stood in silence, the wind pressing against them like time trying to move them forward. In the distance, lights blinked through the trees. The hunters were near. You should go, she whispered. John shook his head. You didn't leave. Ami, I'm not leaving you. And then, a roar, not human. Not mechanical. The lid hunter burst through the trees, massive, armored, eyes red as fire. It spoke in a broken voice. Surrender. You are illegal. You are terminated. John stepped in front of Luma. I don't think she's going anywhere with you. The hunter raised its weapon. Luma stepped forward, palm glowing. "No," she said. "He's with me." The core light lit up like a second sun, and everything exploded.